Hearts and Hardos. What's
We
happening?
back.
We back. Sorry, y'all. I was out in Colorado for team trip, so we were too busy. Spinny was wrapping up his volleyball season as well, so we couldn't get any content out to y'all last week. But we got a little two-parter this week. We're actually going to talk NBA finally. Spinny, we haven't talked NBA once yet. Isn't that crazy?
I know. It's been a crazy start to the year, too.
Yeah, it has been
14
for a
and 0
lot of teams.
Cavs. Gonna
Yeah,
break the record.
these
For
dudes gonna lose ever? What's going on here?
wild.
I know they play the Celtics, I think, on Tuesday or something. So
The
maybe your
L train
squad.
is coming into the station,
Yeah.
baby.
Well, we're gonna do just a little early season mailbag here. I'm actually gonna start it off. Two of my own players gave me questions. Shout out Jax Madsen and Tion Thomas. Jax is actually asking us about the Cavs, Spinny. So it's perfect. Are the Cavs a real contender? And will they be the same team we see right now when it comes to playoffs?
Yes and no. Yes, they're definitely a real contender. I'm gonna ask a question later on that I'm not gonna get into yet related to that, but I think it's them and Boston in the East. I really do right now. I just nobody
Yep.
else. We'll get into that later, but they just have talent. I mean, Mobley stepped into more of his role. It hasn't been as offensive either, but he's been super good on the defensive end and seeming like he's more engaged than we've seen in previous years. And you can tell Garland and Mitchell is fine. Like Garland and Mitchell is totally fine now, and it seems like fourth quarters last year were awkward between them, and you felt like Mitchell always wanted the ball, and Garland was a little resentful. And now it just doesn't. It's like it doesn't. No one gives a shit. Like whoever has the ball has the ball. Whoever's scoring is scoring. Whoever's on is on. It just seems like all that chemistry shit has been much fixed from last year. So I mean, you got to give Kenny Atkinson credit for that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Kenny Atkinson for sure. We all know the drama between JB Bickerstaff and Donovan Mitchell. I mean, that was the main reason why Spider wanted out, right? So they were able to re-sign him, I'm sure, with the notion that they would get a new coach. They did. It's definitely working out in their favor. But I'm with you. I don't know. We'll have to see come playoff time. Obviously, they're going to be able to take away Garland and Mitchell a lot more in the playoffs. Who's that third scoring threat? Is it going to be Karis LeVert? I don't know if you can rely on him in the playoffs on a consistent basis. If we're talking real contender, you know what I mean? So I still don't see that third scoring option on their team, but obviously they have pieces to move around at the deadline if needed. So I definitely think the Cavs are legit. I saw this come in, and it obviously helps that the Bucks and Sixers are not what they should be. That's for sure.
All right. Well, I'm going to ask my next question then because we're kind of on that.
Okay.
Who is the third best team in the East? Because I think it's
Oh
pretty
yeah.
obvious
Okay.
right now. Cavs and Celtics are 1-2. Who's the third best team in the East?
I'm gonna keep the standings here quick. I know, yeah. So the other day, the 4 seed was under 500. Now the 4 seed's 500. 6-6 is the Knicks. The Hawks are the 5 seed right now. Like it's just a mess in the East. Basically, only two teams are playing well. I hate to say it, it's probably the Magic. Now Paulo's out for a couple weeks, right? But they're a young, athletic team. We see this; those type of teams are usually pretty good in the regular season. So especially once they get Paulo back, he was playing at an elite level, especially in that 50-point game that we saw of his. I think it might be the Magic. I mean, we saw them take that step into the playoffs last year. It would make sense for a young team like that to take another step forward this year and be a top 4 seed. So I'm gonna say Magic. What do you think?
I think it's going to be the Knicks. I
Knicks.
think
Yeah.
I think we're seeing a lot of figuring it out crap from them early in
Yes.
the year. Like who does this in certain situations? Blah 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 blah. Mitchell Robinson and Precious Achua both, I think, will be big for them going forward. I think it's hard when Cat has been your only defensive person low. Like, I mean, we've seen the people shooting, 31 for 35 or whatever it is, almost 90% in the paint against Cat right now. I just don't think that'll continue either. I think that'll come back more to average. And then as you get more big depth that they do have, back in the
Yeah,
lineup, it'll be helpful for them. So I'm gonna say the Knicks.
yeah, that makes sense. I think those are your top 4 teams, though, for sure, in the East. Tion, his question: Norman Powell, obviously playing exceptional this year. At this rate, could win Most Improved, and he would be if he did the oldest player to ever win it. Do you think he has a great chance to continue this type of play, or is he just on his high horse right now?
I mean, I think he's definitely going to come down a little bit, but like, let's be real here for a second. I mean, man's averaging like what 24, 3 and 3 right now. So I mean, like,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, I think if he averages, in that 21, 22 range, then he'll probably win it, which is cool. I think he's going to get a ton of shots. He's definitely going to get the second most shots on that team. I think for Norm, it's more about staying healthy than it is anything else. Because I just think with the shot volume he's going to get, he's probably going to get that 20 to 21 a game production. Um, and he's never really had this level of shot attempts ability on teams he's been on before,
yeah, for
And
sure.
so I think given all that, it would be likely, unless it would have to happen with something like Harden getting hurt and them being really bad, or like really really bad, in that 25 to 30 wins situation. But I think as long as they're 38 to 44 wins and he's at 20 to 22 a game, it'd probably be him.
That would be crazy. I mean, he was close to about 18 a game back in his Blazers days, and with obviously not even as close to this many shot attempts. So yeah, I don't see why he can't continue that 20 plus point per game production that we're seeing right now, especially just the elite shooter that he is. I mean, you know how it is with shooters. If they get on a hot streak, they can just keep it rolling for sure. Uh, you made a good point though about health because he's obviously never handled this heavy of a workload. So you wonder how it's going to affect his body at that 30 plus year old age, considering he's gone this long in his career not being that type of guy. So we'll see how it goes. But damn, Norman Powell's been hooping, that's for sure.
This next question I got 3 times.
Three times?
Players and assistant coaches when you coach in Wisconsin. This is a lot of what you're gonna get.
We getting a
Can the
Bucks question?
can the Bucks turn it around, or are they cooked? Or are they cooked?
Well, hate to break it to all you guys. It's over. The Bucks suck. They can't guard anybody. Giannis is the only good defender on the team. All their players are old as hell. You can't be a good regular season team with a bunch of old guys anymore. You just can't. The NBA is too young, athletic, too fast. I just don't think they have it personally. I mean, yeah, Dame, he could go out there and drop his 30 here and there. He can't guard a lick. He barely could guard a lick when he was in his prime. He definitely can't now at the age 33. Middleton doesn't even play. So like their third best scorer doesn't play anymore. I think Lopez is finally hitting that age too, where he's clearly
Finally,
regressing. Finally.
finally, we thought it was like 4 years ago, and then he did it again for
Well,
another.
he had that weird career arc where he hit 30 and he actually went up.
Yeah,
I think it's over, don't you? I mean,
I don't know. It's hard for me to bet against Giannis and Dame. It really, really is.
fair
Um,
enough. I mean,
but also like even if they do get in the playoffs, their coach is now Doc Rivers. So I just think we're looking at a choke
hey,
job either way. You know
Darvin
what I
Ham,
mean?
man, they got Darvin Ham on the staff, bro. The amount of memes of those two guys just sitting on the bench doing absolutely nothing, just watching their team get destroyed is hilarious.
It's tough. I mean, I'm not hating on them as coaches, but
Oh
you're
yeah, but
at some level you are what your history says you are. And I mean, how
exactly.
many choke jobs we got to get from Doc before it is who he is, I guess. So,
Yeah.
and they're 4-9. They're gonna make the playoffs. They're probably gonna be the 4 or the
Yes, for
5.
sure.
Like I'm not. The East is too bad for them to not figure it out at some level. But this is a team that needs to make a trade. This is a team
100.
that needs to get somebody that can be athletic and play a little defense and score. Now, who that is, I don't know. I mean, Zach LaVine has been floated around, but again, then you got another guard that can't play any defense. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see who they end up going after. I just don't see them standing pat either, especially with the Giannis
No,
situation and how all that is looking. Like, I just don't see them doing nothing.
yeah, no, they will definitely do something. They're clearly in a win now mode. A move has to be made for sure.
Yeah, I mean, is it Caleb Martin? Is it Grant Williams? Is it Miles Bridges? Is it? I mean, I think there's various options across the league for guys that are a little bit younger, a little more athletic, and maybe defend somebody. But I don't know.
Justin Schrupp, kind of along the same line of the Cavs question, but Warriors this time. Warriors' early season success, is it sustainable?
If Steph Curry plays at this level, absolutely,
Absolutely, yes, I
absolutely.
agree.
I mean, I was surprised they weren't good last year. To be honest with you, I was pretty high on them. And then the Buddy Hield edition has been absolutely impeccable for them. And I
Yes,
knew it. We knew it. We both called it. We both said it on this pod how well he's going to fit with that. It's just a slightly younger, better defending Klay Thompson. I
pretty
mean,
much, yeah.
honestly, and so that has worked very well. And then Wiggins, right? We've actually got something out of Andrew Wiggins. So that production has been
Draymond's not getting
helpful for
suspended
them.
left and right, at
Draymond's
least
not
right
getting
now.
suspended, and then Kaminga, right? I mean, you're
Yep.
getting 14 a game from Kaminga and from Wiggins. You're getting 17 from Buddy, and you're getting production from Moody. You're getting production from Draymond, and even B-Pod has looked okay as well here
Yeah,
going in. So I don't see why they can't continue it. Obviously, the size is going to be hard for them in the playoffs. Like, I'm
definitely.
I'm worried about them competing with Minnesota and Denver and teams like that. But I think for regular season success and also competing against Phoenix, Houston, Oklahoma City, I think is going to be very possible for them. So I think it's just going to depend a lot on the matchup. I think in the West you've got a lot of different type of teams. You got Denver, you got LA, and you got Minnesota. More big, bruising, physical. I trust those teams a little bit more in the playoffs. And then you've got teams like Phoenix, OKC, and Houston and Golden State that are a little more finesse, a little more shooting,
Yeah,
scoring
that's a
type
fair way to put it.
teams that they're gonna have to get some physicality at the
Yeah.
deadline or something going in for me to really, really trust them. Obviously, Oklahoma City is the exception to that a little bit. They're a little bit in their own tier given how good SGA has been and how young they are and athletic and all that.
Yeah, I mean, if a team is that good at shooting, they could beat anyone on any given night. That's for sure. So, like you said, as long as the Warriors are able to get some sort of big body on their team by the deadline, obviously there's months until that point. They're going to be sitting fine. They definitely will be.
Agreed. All right, is it my turn to ask now, or is it you? I can't remember
What do
here.
you got?
Me?
What do you got for me?
Okay. Last one for me from my resident Spurs fan. Do the San Antonio
Spurs
Spurs
fan.
have a legitimate chance to make the playoffs?
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no.
No, really. I've seen
I
some
just
good
think
production. Go ahead. I want to hear.
it's I just think it's too early. So I think the West it's going to even out a little bit. I mean, you look at the standings, you see the Mavs way down there, the Wolves are down there. These are teams as the season goes along that'll start to rack up wins for sure. So I need to see it for at least another month, if not 2 months, before I say anything like that when it comes to the Spurs. I just think they're too young, right? Their best player is a second-year player who's only 20 years old. Obviously, the Chris Paul addition helps. Everyone points to the his time on the Thunder a couple years ago, right? But I don't know. Spinny, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're probably right,
You were
but
the one who had over on the Spurs last year, so you should be telling me they're going to the playoffs. Come on.
I know, but I do trust in Chris Paul. So like that addition for them has been good. I do think there is something to the what he did with Oklahoma City and how he affects wins and just the way he runs the team.
He's
Vassell's
a good
looked
leader.
Vassell's looked good in the couple of games he's got to play. And there's been some resurgence from Castle, and we've even seen it from what's that guy's name? Champagne or
Yeah, Julian.
yeah,
However
yeah,
you
yeah,
say it.
yeah. He's looked good. Kelvin's looked good. So there is pieces there, but I think they're
Vassell's about to
probably
come back. He
yeah,
might have
Vassell's about to
already,
come
for that
back.
matter.
I think they're in that 500 range, but more of a league pass team to me than a
Yes.
legitimate contender. Got league pass this year for the first time.
Really?
Really has been
Look
fun.
at you,
I
Spinny.
know we've been sporting 3 TVs, 2 of them on random NBA games every night. It's been pretty fun. The Spurs are a great team to watch. I will say, if
Oh
you're a
yeah.
league pass team, check them out. Wemby's just ridiculous. That tip rebound over 3 guys for him to pull up 2 feet behind the line and hit a three was just like holy shit moments from them.
I mean, easily a top 10 league pass team. Or would you
Yeah.
go as far as even saying top 5? I don't know.
Top
There's
five's
obviously a
a
lot of
hard
teams.
one to crack,
Yeah.
but especially this year where I think the Cavs have been the best league pass team for sure. Um, Even with all their winning, their games have been competitive. Um, Indiana's a great league pass team. Brooklyn's been a league pass team for some random thing I would never have expected.
Cam Thomas, man, chucking him up there.
Yeah, Cam Thomas is looking fire, but yeah, probably a top 5 league pass team.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's the
honestly,
Wemby effect, right?
literally.
Well, we're going to stay on the Spurs train for this next question. Aaron Boisman is asking, do you think Coach Pop will ever coach again?
Yes, I think he might coach again this season. To be honest,
I agree. I agree.
they would not have played it the way that they did. They would not have announced it and said it and all that the way they did if
Yes.
they were super concerned about um, him long term. Like it would have
Yeah.
been much different of an announcement in my opinion. And obviously they said, indefinite timeline, but they said it was a mild stroke. They say there's been no like worry about him like dying or stuff like that. Like there's been no rumors in that area. And so I just think even if it's just to say he coached again, I think he's for sure going to come back and at least coach some. I just don't see him going out like this.
Yeah. No, I am completely with you there. He has another question. This is gonna be tough, Spenny. Who ends their career higher on the all-time player list? Stephen Curry or Nikola Jokic? He's thinking. I told you, man. It's tougher than you
I'm gonna
think.
I'm gonna say Steph though. I
I'm
still
leaning
think
Steph too.
it's Steph. It's just a
Yeah.
lot of championships.
He
Like,
got 4 rings, man.
listen,
You know.
yeah, like Jokic has got to get at least to 3, at least, because Curry's got the unanimous MVP as well. The MVP
Oh,
ladder is two
best
to
shooter ever.
three Jokic right now, but he's got best shooter ever. He was the best player on you know, at least 2 of those 4 championships.
Yes.
So, and Jokic is probably not getting another MVP for a long time. Like it's kind of at that point
You would
right now.
assume, but the
I
way
mean,
he's playing this year, they might have no choice.
I guess, but 4 MVPs is like a crazy level, obviously.
I
So
mean,
if
he's
he
on
gets to
LeBron's
that,
level if he does
yeah,
that. So
yeah. So I mean, that's unbelievable. But I gotta say, Curry. If I had to make odds, though, it's probably like 70, maybe 75-25 Curry right now. But I do think
oh yeah.
Jokic is more on that. So yeah, I would say
I
Curry.
I'm gonna say Curry too. Another key reason being what Curry's like 36 right now. I
Yeah,
don't know if Jokic even wants to play till that age, and I feel like he's gonna have
true,
to, at minimum, play till 36 to even try to hit that level.
true. That is
Because
something
Curry
I
is,
didn't think about either.
pretty universally accepted as a top 10 to top 12 player right now. Steph Curry.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
Jokic obviously is pretty universally accepted as a top 20 player, but there's levels to it, right? It takes a lot just to jump even a couple steps when you're talking those all time greats. So
Agreed.
he actually has a third one. I want to ask this one too. Who is the best defensive player currently in the NBA?
Oh, that's tough.
I
Wemby.
know.
I mean, I'm
I
I'm just
has to be
gonna say
Wemby,
Wemby.
right?
Yeah. I mean, it just like
I
the
mean,
block
5 stocks a
number.
game. 5 stocks a
Yeah.
game. What do you
I
want?
mean, it's just absolutely crazy. Um, Man, who else is even in that category? Let me think here. I mean, man's yeah, 3.7 blocks a game and 1.3 steals. 1.3 steals as a center is also pretty crazy.
Yeah, I'm thinking too.
McHale and OG.
Kale's good.
Those two
OG.
got to be in that realm for
I've
wing.
seen a lot of steps forward defensively, as expected, honestly, from Jalen Williams,
Yeah,
Thunder. 2 steals and a block a game right now to start the season. I mean, his wingspan's freaking ridiculously long. He is a legit defender too.
I'm still gonna put
Um,
my boy Jaden in that category as well.
yeah,
Like I know from an offensive perspective, but from a defensive perspective, I don't see a lot of difference between OG and McHale and Jaden. To be
yeah,
honest
for
with you,
sure.
so
McDaniel's up there.
yeah, those three wings I think have got to all be in that.
Obviously, your boy Drew Holiday. You know,
Mm-hmm.
guys like that still elite defenders. I
Yeah, I
want to
mean
shout out.
Drew and Derek for guards. I think both
Oh
are.
yeah, Jalen Suggs, another name.
Ooh, I like that one. That's more low key, but I like that shout
Alex
out.
Caruso. I mean,
Yeah, true.
those are your good guard defenders. I
Caruso
want to shout
definitely
out
the
a
best.
guy
Go ahead.
who might not ever even get to that level of conversation, but wow, tremendous start to the season. Dyson Daniels for the Hawks,
True.
4 steals a game. 4 steals a game. That is a real stat so far. He has had at least 6 steals in the last 4 straight games. How
Yeah,
does that make any
25
sense?
steals. 25 steals in the last 4 games, which is
Like what?
Michael Jordan-esque when they
Yeah.
were stocking his steal stats.
And I mean, he's a 6'8" point guard too, so he's long and he can move laterally very well too. So I mean, being only 21, 22 years old, he could maybe get into that upper echelon defenders in a couple of years, especially with the playing time now that he gets on the Hawks. Next question. You know Chase Richter is coming with a T-Wolves question. They're all I'm going to ask all three of them because they're all T-Wolves. 1, who's to blame for the bad start? 2, when do we hit the panic button if we do? And 3, did we make the wrong move trading Cat?
That is the biggest problem right there. That is the biggest problem. I don't think a
Yep.
person is the biggest problem. Everyone doing that is the biggest problem.
Agreed.
48 minutes full of defense. Like when we're down by 10, we play freaking amazing defense. Like we're the fucking 85 Bears. But the first 2 quarters of the game, we look like we're the 2013 Jets. Like, I don't know. That's probably not a good example, but you know what I'm saying.
Using the football
Yeah,
analogies.
their defense is probably kind of good too, the 2013 Jets. But, anyways, we're looking like totally different teams when we're up and we're down from the defensive end. So, the panic button, we're not even freaking close to the panic button right now. We're 7-6. We're about 500. We're 7th in the West. It's fine. Not even close. Like the panic button can't even be hit until Christmas Day, in my opinion. Like
Man,
unless like
I was going farther back than that even. I was gonna
well,
say I am
yeah,
not hitting a panic button until February, man.
but I'm saying like any team at all, you're
Exactly. That's what I'm
probably not
saying.
hitting the panic button until Christmas Day. Even teams like the Bucks and Dallas and Philly, like you're
Yeah.
probably not even hitting the panic button until Christmas Day with those teams. I don't think we're anywhere close to that. And then what was the last one?
Did we make the wrong move trading Cat?
Oh, I'm still where I was. I mean,
I still think it's way
I'm
too early to tell.
yeah,
We're
I
13
guess
games in.
I'm 60-40 pro still, which is probably where I sat when the trade happened. I do want to see more from DiVincenzo. I do. I wish
Oh my gosh,
we could
please.
get the shooting we saw in New York from him. But I think that'll come, and I think there's going to be a trust factor coming there. And I love our leadership. I do. I know it's not necessarily the most mature from Ant, but it is honest, and he calls himself out as much as everybody else. I loved the
Yes, he does.
interview. Like, we got to play some fucking defense, and it starts with me. So, from that perspective, I appreciate him as well, and I think he'll help right the ship.
With you on everything you said. Defense for 48 minutes. I mean, you couldn't have said it any better. We just have not strung together a full defensive game yet. And there's zero reason to panic with our roster, which is set up long term. We have these guys locked in on deals already. Um, Julius, obviously not, but that was just obviously to free the money for Cat, right? So we probably obviously don't really plan on extending Julius, but obviously we'll see what happens this season. We got our rookies on rookie deals. There's no panic button until February. All-Star game, that range, deadlines at the end of February. That's when you can panic in the last 20, 30 games. We will be in the mix of playoffs at that point, no matter what. So
Agreed.
I don't
Agreed.
see any reason to panic. Last question here, Spinning. Buck Waller, he has to come with just the most outrageous questions of all time. Just classic Buck fashion here. Do you think the NBA should allow fighting like the NHL? His actual question.
Frick yeah. No, I'm
Why
just kidding.
not?
Why?
Joe Mazzulla, hey, your man. Joe Mazzulla wants it, man.
Joe Maz is the Buck Waller of NBA head coaches.
Yeah.
This man is out of pocket as hell.
All
this
the
man
time.
Be saying stuff that's like, bro, are you okay? Like I have to question his mental sanity on a regular basis sometimes with the shit that comes out of his mouth. But we love him. We love him anyway. See, but NHL players are so much tougher. Like players don't actually like get hurt where they're out long times from fights very often. Whereas I feel like you get Joel, like people be fighting Joel Embiid every chance they get. You put that man in a fight, he's gonna be hurt in like 1.1.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's my only thing is I think NBA players are way less tough than NHL players. So
I think one thing they could maybe do, you eject the guys, right? Just let them brawl in the hallway. Why not? Let them get it out of their system.
Let Jaden break his hand on someone's face instead of the wall, or what?
Exactly. Why not?
Okay. All right.
I would respect that a little more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true. Fighting in the
Okay.
NBA, we love it.
This one is, again, another classic, interesting Buck question here. Do you think super fans are BS? Like he says, why do they choose one random person to be the super fan just because they have money to be courtside?
I think it's fun. I don't give a frick if they choose somebody. I mean, if that's what you're gonna take all the money you make and devote it towards, then you probably deserve to be the super fan.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like sometimes, it might be different now, but like the Timberwolves super fan, can't even think of his name. Like he's usually not even courtside. He's up in the rowdy crowd, getting after it, cheering, stuff like that. I feel like that's the case for a lot of other teams too. Obviously, there are some that sit right behind the hoop. He did have to point out. He's like Spike Lee always falling on the floor. Sit your ass down and shut up. Spike Lee, he sometimes does take it a little too far. He doesn't need to be laying on the ground watching the game. He was doing that during the Liberty game too, Liberty Lynx. I was like, Spike, bro, sit in your seat, dog. It's not that serious.
Sit in the seat you paid $50,000 for.
Yeah,
Holy
literally.
cow.
Well, honestly, at this point, it's just probably Spike's seat. Like he probably doesn't have to pay for it anymore at this point. All right, y'all. That was early season Mailbag Man Spinny. I'm glad we were finally able to talk some NBA. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season, man. It's been a wild one. It's going to continue to be a wild one, as we know. NBA is it's so drama filled. I love this league so much.